Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. Today we are diving deep into the latest moves that the Dallas Cowboys have made as they prepare for the upcoming season. The offseason is always a fascinating time, filled with questions about which players will return, who will get a shot in training camp, and how the roster shapes up for the challenges ahead. And right now, there's plenty to unpack when it comes to the Cowboys' futures deals and the players who are returning to compete for roster spots. Let's start with the concept of future contracts. These deals typically involve players who were on practice squads last season or those who became available after the year ended. Unlike active roster players, whose contracts extend into free agency, these guys are often already available to sign. The main point to keep in mind is that they don't count against the roster limit until the new league year officially begins. They also aren't eligible for postseason play, but that won't be an issue for the Cowboys this past season. Additionally, these deals have minimal impact on the salary cap since they are usually veteran minimum contracts, and teams only count the top 53 players. One name that fans will recognize is Israel Abanikanda, known as Izzy. He's back with the Cowboys, and this return gives the running back room some continuity as the team looks toward the next season. Izzy was originally picked up late last season when Malik Davis was promoted to the active roster, and though Izzy has only appeared in 6 career games, he brings potential explosiveness to the backfield. Maintaining depth at running back is key, especially with restricted free agents like Malik Davis and unrestricted free agents such as Javonte Williams. By keeping players like Izzy in the fold, the Cowboys are positioning themselves to have options while still managing the roster efficiently. The wide receiver room is also seeing some interesting developments. Tayon Holden has returned on a futures deal after not appearing in any games last season. He wasn't ready to play during the regular season, which explains why he was initially released, but now he has the opportunity to compete for a spot on the roster. Predicting whether he will make the final 53-man roster next year is tough, as it depends on performance during training camp and any adjustments the coaching staff makes. Paris Campbell is another receiver returning on a futures contract. Although he saw limited action last season, primarily on special teams, the offensive staff clearly sees value in giving him another chance to contribute and develop. Other wide receivers like George Pickens and Jalen Tolbert are free agents, and it seems unlikely that Tolbert will return. The Cowboys will likely add a mix of late-round draft picks or undrafted free agents to supplement the receiving core, but the majority of the offense is largely set. There's a sense that the coaching staff is comfortable with the core group they have, which allows them to focus on refining roles and giving young or returning players the chance to prove themselves. The offensive line is another area of focus, particularly when it comes to players returning on futures deals. Nick Lever, who played in the final preseason game as a special teamer, has been brought back. Primarily as center with some position flexibility, Lever is considered a camp body, someone who will compete in practice and preseason games, but is unlikely to play a significant role during the regular season. Marcellus Johnson, a former Missouri offensive lineman, has also returned. His career has largely consisted of practice squad assignments, but having these players in training camp ensures depth and competition of the line, which is crucial for developing a strong unit for the next season. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, the Cowboys have several interesting updates. Defensive tackle remains a relatively stable position, with players like Quinnen, OSA, Kenny Clark, Solomon Thomas, Perion Winfrey, and Jatoa under contract. The addition of Adidio Adley, part of the International Player Pathway program, provides an intriguing developmental piece. Although his deal hasn't been officially announced by the Cowboys, reports indicate that Adley intends to return, which would bolster the defensive tackle group without requiring major changes. The edge and linebacker positions are also evolving. Isaiah Land has returned after a brief stint with the Colts, where he saw limited action. Land's presence provides another option on the defensive edge and adds depth behind players like Ezrao and James Houston, both under contract. This mix of returning players and free agents gives the Cowboys flexibility to find impact contributors while maintaining continuity with familiar faces. Zion Childress is another player who returned after moving between the practice squad and active roster during the previous season. His ability to play nickel corner provides additional depth, and he may compete for a spot on the final roster depending on performance during the offseason. Safety and nickel corner positions remain a key area of interest. Reddy Stewart, an exclusive rights free agent, has essentially two choices: play for the Cowboys at the minimum salary or step away from the NFL. Alongside him, Childress and other returning players form the base for the secondary, which could see the addition of a high-impact starter or a draft pick to elevate the unit. The Cowboys have recognized that while depth is important, bringing in a true difference maker at safety or nickel corner could significantly strengthen their defense. Among the defensive backs, Julius Wood also makes a return, similar to Isaiah Land. Wood was previously released and later brought back to the practice squad. His familiarity with the team and versatility make him a valuable piece in training camp as he competes for a spot in the defensive rotation. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are monitoring free agents and restricted free agents at various positions, including Donovan Wilson and Juan Thomas. These players represent opportunities to add talent and fill gaps, particularly if the team identifies areas where they need immediate impact rather than just depth. In summary, the Cowboys' offseason moves, particularly the futures deals and returns of previously released players, indicate a strategy focused on continuity and competition. The running back room, wide receiver depth, offensive line, and defensive front are all receiving attention, but the emphasis seems to be on giving players who are familiar with the system a chance to prove themselves in camp. The coaching staff appears intent on balancing veteran presence with young talent, ensuring that every position has competition and positioning the team to be ready for the challenges of the new season. As we continue diving into the Cowboys' offseason moves, the attention turns toward the players who have returned on futures deals and what they could mean for the team when training camp kicks off. One of the more intriguing aspects of these deals is that they allow the coaching staff to evaluate talent in a structured environment without the immediate pressure of regular season play. Players like Tan Holden and Paris Campbell, who had limited or no action during the previous season, now have an opportunity to show how they've grown and how they fit into the evolving offensive scheme. For Holden, who did not appear in a single regular season game, this is a chance to demonstrate readiness and perhaps secure a spot in the competitive wide receiver room. Campbell, meanwhile, has had glimpses on special teams, but now the focus will be on how he can contribute in meaningful offensive roles. The running back situation is equally compelling. Israel Bannekanda's return, alongside the likes of Malik Davis and Javonte Williams, provides both depth and potential upside. The Cowboys are clearly interested in maintaining a stable rotation in the backfield while giving younger or less experienced players the chance to compete for meaningful snaps. With Javonte Williams set to hit free agency and Malik Davis classified as a restricted free agent, the team must carefully navigate these negotiations to ensure that the backfield remains productive and balanced. Re-signing players who have familiarity with the system, like Bannekanda, is a strategic move that could pay off in terms of continuity and chemistry in the running game. Turning to the offensive line, depth remains a key focus. Players like Nick Lever and Marcellus Johnson, who primarily served on practice squads, offer flexibility and provide insurance against injury during training camp. Lever's experience at center and his ability to step into multiple roles could be valuable during preseason matchups, while Johnson brings competition and positional versatility. This group allows the Cowboys to experiment with line combinations and gives the coaching staff insight into which players are ready for expanded roles or potential roster spots. The offensive line, after all, is critical to both protecting the quarterback and opening lanes for the running backs. And the offseason work here is about building cohesion as well as preparing for contingencies. On the defensive side, the Cowboys are positioned with stability at certain key positions, but are also exploring areas for improvement. The defensive tackle group is deep with Quinnen, Osa, Clark, Solomon Thomas, Perion Winfrey, Jatoa, and Adidio Adley under contract. While the depth here is strong, the focus is on making sure these players remain healthy and ready for the grind of a full season. Adley, as part of the International Player Pathway program, represents a developmental piece who could contribute in rotational snaps while learning from established veterans. The emphasis is on maintaining a dominant interior presence while allowing the team to allocate resources and attention to areas that require more immediate impact. Edge rushers and linebackers are also being monitored closely. Isaiah Land's return provides a versatile option on the edge, complementing James Houston and Ezra, who are already under contract. Land's limited playing time in previous seasons belies his potential, and the Cowboys coaching staff will likely use off-season practices to evaluate whether he can step into a rotational or starting role. Zion Childress adds depth in the nickel corner spot, giving the secondary flexibility and coverage options, especially in passing situations. This kind of competition is vital, as the Cowboys seek to blend returning talent with potential newcomers to create a secondary that can adapt to different offensive schemes. The safety position is another area where impact players are needed. While Reddy Stewart and Childress provide options, the Cowboys are still looking for that game-changing talent who can make a difference in coverage, run support, and overall defensive communication. With players like Donovan Wilson and Juan Thomas as potential free agent acquisitions, the team has opportunities to strengthen this unit. The coaching staff's challenge is to balance developing young talent with adding proven contributors who can immediately elevate the secondary. Special teams and backup positions continue to see movement as well. Players who have previously been on the practice squad, like Julius Wood, are returning to compete for roles on kickoff coverage, punt protection, and rotational defensive snaps. Their familiarity with the system and ability to execute assignments makes them valuable during preseason, allowing the starters to focus on game planning and skill development. Additionally, evaluating these players in live situations helps the team determine which individuals are ready to contribute on the active roster and which might remain in developmental roles for another season. Looking ahead, the Cowboys are clearly focused on building a roster that balances experience, depth, and potential upside. The future's deals, re-signed practice squad players, and selective free agent acquisitions are all pieces of strategy designed to create competition and ensure readiness when the regular season begins. This approach not only allows for flexibility in responding to injuries or underperformance, but also ensures that the coaching staff can identify players who are capable of stepping up in critical moments. Each position group has a mix of returning faces and newcomers, and how these players perform during training camp and preseason will be crucial in determining the final 53-man roster. The wide receiver room, running back rotation, offensive line depth, defensive line stability, edge rushers, linebackers, and secondary units all showcase the Cowboys' commitment to building a roster that is not just competitive but also resilient. Each returning player, whether on a futures deal or as a practice squad returnee, brings unique experience and the potential to make an impact. The offseason is about more than just transactions. It's about setting the foundation for a successful season, creating internal competition, and providing opportunities for growth and development across the entire roster. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are growing louder around the league, and this time they point straight to Dallas. Sources close to the situation suggest the Cowboys may be quietly positioning themselves for one of the boldest offensive moves in recent memory, a potential deal for wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase. Nothing is confirmed, contracts are not signed, and front offices remain officially silent, but the idea alone has already sent shockwaves through NFL circles. If the speculation proves true, Dallas would be assembling a terrifying aerial combination by pairing Chase with CeeDee Lamb. On paper, the fit looks almost unfair. Lamb's refined route running, versatility across formations, and ability to dominate underneath would perfectly complement Chase's explosive speed, physicality, and knack for game-breaking plays downfield. Defenses would be forced to pick their poison, often unsuccessfully. League insiders note that the Cowboys' front office has been unusually aggressive behind the scenes, exploring scenarios that could redefine the identity of the offense. The belief is that Dallas wants to lean fully into a pass-first philosophy, stretching the field horizontally and vertically, and giving their quarterback a level of firepower few teams could match. Chase's arrival would instantly command double coverage, potentially opening massive windows for Lamb, tight ends, and even the running game. Skeptics argue that salary cap gymnastics and draft capital concerns make such a move unlikely. Still, the Cowboys have a history of chasing headline-grabbing talent when they believe the window is open. Supporters of the rumor point to Dallas' desire to make a definitive statement, not just to fans, but to the rest of the league. This team is all in. Whether this remains locker room chatter or evolves into a franchise-altering transaction, the mere possibility has already changed the conversation around the Cowboys. An offense featuring both Ja'Marr Chase and CeeDee Lamb would not just aim to win games. It would aim to overwhelm opponents, redefine matchups, and ignite one of the most explosive passing attacks the NFL has ever seen. For now, it's speculation, but in Dallas, speculation has a way of becoming reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.